Hey, what up, my dude skis? Got another little video on the new official Monceu Supercross game. We'll see how much money I can make off of this shit. Oh, god damn. Oh, man. If it wasn't for these games being so popular, I probably wouldn't cover them this much, but good lord, they're just so, I don't know what it is. Like, if MX Simulator had the popularity of, and the advertisement of, like, the official Monster Energy Supercross games and shit, could you imagine how many people would play that? Oh my god. Like, if there was some way to convey to people how good MX Simulator actually was, and it actually had some kind of advertisement, because currently it literally has none, like, whatsoever. Could you imagine what kind of game that would be if people actually, knew about it? That would be sick. But either way, new compound for Supercross 3. Now, I was just fucking around. I'm actually somewhat excited about this new Supercross 3 game now that I've seen the physics, because it actually does seem to be like they're going down a bit of a different road here, which is, oh my god, I can't even explain how good that is when I was thinking Milestone was never ever going to, dig deeper than 1/4 of an inch down into their physics system of their game. Like, I was thinking we were literally never going to get anywhere other than the same old standard Milestone in-air physics, you know what I mean? So it's really cool to see them try to do something a little bit different. So the new compound is supposed to be like on it's kind of going down like the test track vibe, right? The KTM, whatever, California test track, right? So they're kind of going down that vibe, and they say that it's supposed to be the biggest free ride, free roam compound area track that they've had in any of their games thus far. So, this one right here, in the first Supercross game, that one that they didn't have in the original version of the game, right? The original Monster Energy Supercross game had no free ride track in it at all from the beginning, and then like a few months later they're like, oh, you wanted a free ride track in that AAA motocross game? Oh shit, sorry, we forgot about that. We'll put one in here for you, but you're gonna have to pay us extra for it. We're gonna put it in as a microtransaction. Oh yeah, that track. Okay, you guys know this one, right? Interestingly enough, this is almost like the desert PUBG map in a motocross game. Kind of funny, but so yeah, basically, like, this map right here, overall size-wise, is quite big. I mean, it's decent size. I just think the way they laid out some of their jumps and just the standard big jump in air physics of the Milestone games have been pretty crappy to, there's like, you don't feel like you're ever really hitting a massive jump anywhere. It's not like, oh, I'm going to hit this massive ass 300-foot sand dune jump and shit like that. And to some of you guys that are saying, well, that's not what it's about, because it's an official Supercross game, sister. You're not meant to jump more than 5 feet off the ground, because it's an official game, dude. Oh my god, how many more ways can I find to try to defend these Milestone games when there's really not a way to defend them? I don't know. Let me think of another way randomly out of my head. Let me just shit another fucking random excuse for Milestone out of my ass real quick. You know what I mean? That's what people do. Listen, that's what free riding's all about, you idiots. I don't care what kind of motocross game it is. If you have a free ride track, it's supposed to have the huge big jump hills, 200-foot dune jumps. That's what it's all about, dog. So don't sit here and tell me it's not even supposed to have that, Spencer. Like, dude, they could have certainly amped up this whole, random area out here that's got these, like, cactus trees and random little deserty grass objects and shit. It's just got, like, little bitty standard hills over the entire area over here. They could have amped up these hills to where it was, actually fun and you could actually jump something, right? That's how you make a free ride track, right? But they didn't do that. You just have these standard ass little baby jump, like 30-foot jumps over these free ride hills. Like, shit, dude, they could have made that so much more interesting over there. But either way, so the new compound is supposed to be the biggest one ever, so apparently it's going to be bigger than this track right here. But it's all in how good it's made. You know what I'm saying? It don't really help if you have a ginormous track when it's not fun and there's not big jumps and you don't even have the fucking in-air physics to be able to jump something big. That's the funny thing, if you had a ginormous jump in the first official Monster Energy Supercross game, it wouldn't even really be all that fun to hit it, because the air physics and the way you jump in this game and the way the whipping is in this game, it wouldn't even look right. It would actually look quite janky and quite buggy and weird, because have you ever went on one of the custom tracks in this game where somebody's got like a full-blown start like almost as far as you can go, completely flat surface, and then just like the biggest jump you can make in a custom track? That's probably the biggest you can jump in this entire game, is when you get on a custom track. It's got a totally flat, like, 200-300 foot long flat straightaway to basically a quad, like a quad or a triple face, right? And you can kind of jump like that. It feels really weird in this game when you jump big because of the way the physics are. Like, it's really bizarre because there's not really like a weight to it. This game doesn't really capture the, you know how like in real life when you jump up in the air, you have the suspension decompresses, you lift up off the ground, you can feel it in the suspension, right? It's like, oh, you kind of like boost up in the air, right? And it's like, okay, I'm in the air. Then when you start falling back down to the ground, there's a slowly but increasable sort of gravitational pull once you start coming back down to the ground, right? And that's what a lot of these milestone games fail to capture completely. It's almost like you're just, no matter how big of a jump you hit, no matter how fast you hit it, it's the same sort of gravitational in-air feeling. So it kind of loses the in-air jumping feeling, and that's not even talking about the whips. The whips get really bizarre in this game when you start throwing them over like a humongous quad jump, or when you're actually in the air for more than 2.5 seconds and you throw a whip. It's like really, really bizarre because it does that weird like scrub, pull over, play, hit a button, play an animation whip. It's not like that full, huge, drag it out whip and really like lean her on over and get up under the bike. It doesn't really have any of those kind of whips in this game. So be really interesting to see with those newer, more MX versus ATV style physics, how that's going to affect the free riding, right? I mean, just imagine, guys. Some of you guys sitting here thinking that, oh, like, what the fuck? I barely lean back, and it's like, no, boy, we got a little sniper out here shooting me off the bike off a little 10-foot double. It's like, even if you do hit a jump that you might think you might get some air off of, nope, you just instantly pop off for no reason whatsoever. What the fuck is this game? I'm barely leaning back, and I popped off. But no, you guys say, let's go back to the first Supercross game's physics, huh? Huh? Is that what you want, boys? Oh, my shits. This is beyond me. Why any motocross game would ever do this. I'm literally leaning back like 10% on the thumbstick, and it's just instantly popping me off in the air. What in the actual fuck? I didn't even lean back. Holy shit, this game, dude. I literally didn't even lean back. It's like if your bike even remotely gets 10, 11 o'clock, it's just like the dude's like, oh, no, I'm out, boys. I'm just hop off the bike real quick. What the fuck is this game? I swear to God. This game right here will go down, I've got like full-blown lean forward, or it'll just instantly pop me off. Like, even if they had a seat-bound system to the game and you could really like pull back and huck up on the bike in this game, you would pop off instantly coming off the jump phase because of the way the game is made. Oh, that is, if you know motocross games like to a deep level, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know exactly. The only way you can defend this game like that and you think this game is just so amazing is if you don't really fully understand motocross games to a deep level. That's all there is to it, man. Like, really, you need to get in there and play some better physics motocross games. Go in there and really deep dive into Reflex, deep dive into MX Simulator, and you'll know what the hell I'm talking about. This game is a literal joke. It's a literal, we're going to trick you by making these graphics fucking amazing, and we're going to make everybody buy our game because it's official. First official Supercross game we've had in like, 2 decades? Some shit, right? So it got everybody sort of hype jizzing in their panties real quick, but really, that's all it is graphics and an official game with official riders and official replica tracks, but only 1 year of replica tracks, and it didn't even come with a free ride track at the beginning, and then they charge you as paid DLC later. This game is so shit when you really deep dive and look at what it really is. It's absolutely god-awful. The popping off when you barely pull up on the bike. The most simplistic, repetitive whips I've ever seen in any motocross game ever before. Only having the Supercross tracks of one season in the game, and that's it in the entire game. In the entire game. There was no free ride tracks, no enduro tracks, no trail tracks, no motocross tracks, fucking nothing. There was no content in this game, people. None. And it was a AAA full price game. They boofed your asses. They got you. Milestone's over there. I got you, bitch. You thought this was a full-blown AAA price game, AAA, motocross content game? Oh, and the money they made off of it, too, for fucking 1/4 of what a motocross game should be. And they made bank on it. Absolute bank on it. Oh, it's sad. It's sad. But either way, I digress, right? I've spoken my mind about this game so many damn times. And that's what makes it all the worse when people see that new gameplay of Supercross 3 and then they automatically want to jump to, just go back to the first Supercross game. The first Supercross game was so much better. No, and no. You need to rethink your shit, dog. You need to rethink it real quick. Whole squad on that real shit. You're looking at shit way too short term. You look at long term. That's the problem with a lot of people nowadays. They look at things short term wise. They don't look at it the bigger picture, the long term. And that's what I was going to talk about. Like, just imagine if like Unleashed or Untamed or Reflex had no free ride track in it at all. Just imagine that. And then they go in there and give you one free ride track as paid DLC later. Imagine the fucking outrage. Imagine how much shittier those games would have been had they had no free ride track or just one free ride track. Imagine how much shittier Reflex and Unleashed and Untamed would have been if that was the case. It's just such a massive pillar to motocross games. I don't care what kind of motocross game it is. Free riding in a motocross game is a massive pillar, okay? Like I've always said, you need bare minimum 3 full-blown different biome free ride tracks in a new AAA motocross game, period. There ain't even no questions asked. That's the bare minimum that you should have in a new motocross game. Not, here's one compound, here's one free ride track, that's all we're going to give you. But that seems like that's all we're getting in this Supercross 3 game. So, little disappointed content-wise, but I'm hopeful that they can kind of take some of the track design, because it seems like that's what they're doing a little bit on the standard replica Supercross tracks of the game. Hopefully they can take some of that bigger jump track design for the free ride track as well, right? It's just such a massive pillar. I mean, it'd be like having Call of Duty without the little side zombies or Spec Ops mode. It'd be like if you just stripped that completely out, or it'd be like having Call of Duty without a campaign. It's that. I mean, free riding in the motocross games really are that big pillar. It's one of the big okay, so let me paint this picture for you. I don't care what kind of dirt bike game you have. You had damn fucking 100% for sure, dog, better have Supercross tracks. That's one pillar. Well, let's just start over. First big pillar is motocross tracks. That's one big pillar. And then Supercross tracks in the same game. That's the second big pillar, okay? And then the third big pillar is free ride tracks. Those are the 3 heaviest of hitter content things in motocross games, period. Having Supercross tracks, motocross tracks, and free ride tracks, all in the same game. I mean, the fact that we're not to that point or that agreement of that's what should be in a AAA motocross game fucking mind baffles me to another dimension. That people will defend the Fisher Monster Energy Supercross game and say, well, it's an official Supercross game. It don't even need motocross tracks, Spencer. It's an official Supercross game. It's not even supposed to have free ride tracks on it or big jumps on it. What? You're still paying $60 for it, you dumbass. Let's go back to all these other MX versus ATV games, minus MX versus ATV Supercross, and even that game was half price, but I digress again. Let's go back, right? All of them that were $60 had Supercross, motocross, multiple free ride tracks. And then on top of that, they held a whole nother little side series like either trail, enduro, omnicross, freestyle. We ain't even fucking brought that shit up. Oh no, people lose their shit when I say talk about a milestone game potentially having freestyle in it. Oh, hell no. They're like, oh, no, it can't have that, Spencer. That's not that kind of game. Dude, it's a motocross game. Stop fucking making these excuses that the official Supercross games they don't need anything other than the replica Supercross tracks. That's all they ever need. You are literally retarded if you're saying that. I'm just telling you right now. You're defending less content. Why the fuck would you ever do that? Why? It mind baffles me. They will go... The milestone and official Monster Energy Supercross game fanboys will go to the extent of literally defending less content. How could you ever do that? More content is always better. Always, dude. Fence. Good one, Spence. Hit that fence, Spence. Oh, shit. But for real, guys, like, okay, let me just put it to you this way. Okay? You got the official Monster Energy Supercross, the first game over here. All it's got is Supercross tracks in it, right? For $60. Okay? Then over here, let's say you've got Monster Energy Supercross 4 or 5. And it's got Supercross tracks, motocross tracks, multiple free ride tracks, like at least 3. It's got an enduro series on it, like a full-blown trail series, right? It's got freestyle in it. You got your little freestyle tracks. You can do backflips in the game. You can do a couple tricks in the game. You're really going to tell me that you would rather have that basic-ass standard little Supercross game over here that only has Supercross tracks in it, and that is it. You would rather have that. That's what you want, more than that other game that has Supercross, motocross, freestyle, free ride, omnicross, fucking enduro. You're really going to tell me that right now? No, you fucking ain't, you idiot. You're talking out of your ass. That's what you're doing. No, you wouldn't rather have that. You would rather have the game that had all the more content, and the more types of racing, and the more tracks. Obviously. That's like apparent. It's like, that would make the game 5 times as good instantaneously. Because there's more shit to do. There's more stuff to do. You know, you get tired of riding on the same old Supercross tracks. Go play on the motocross tracks. Whole nother fun, whole nother way to test out the physics, whole nother skill to the game. You go play the motocross tracks for a while. Get kind of tired of that. Hey, let's go ride on the free ride tracks together, dude. Hell yeah. Let's go hit some big-ass jumps together. Have some fun. You know, throw some sick, thug, nasty, fatty whips over some cool shit. That's a whole nother element to it, right? And then it's just like, and then the freestyle plays in with the free riding, and then the fucking free riding plays in with the enduro, and then it all just works when you have all those kind of things in there and all that kind of content in there. It just works. And it's been proven to work with the MX vs. ATV series. Like, that's kind of, hello? Like, that's the standard. It's kind of like once Call of Duty, the original Modern Warfare, they were the first ones to do basically the create a custom class type thing. Now you see it in every shooter out there. Create a class, right? Well, it's the same difference. You know, MX vs. ATV laid down the basis of what should be in a motocross game. Supercross, motocross, free ride, you know, some kind of enduro or some shit. Freestyle, it's standard. I don't care what kind of game it is, especially if it's $60. Now, if you want to come out with a half-assed, half-content motocross game for $30, MX vs. ATV Supercross, then that's a different story because it's only $30, half the price. But when you come in here and make an official Supercross game with a fourth of the content and make it full priced, I have a problem with that. You see what I'm saying? I got a big-time problem with that. So either way, they say that the compound is going to be like co-op now, right? I don't know how that wasn't in the first game. You know, free riding, that's like one of the biggest things to it, is that you can ride on it with your buddies. That should be like mandatory. If you have free riding tracks in a motocross game, it's co-op. You can ride on it with other people. I would assume that would just be like a default standard ass. See, there's things at Milestone, oh my God. I just don't, there's no explanation for it. There's some weird ass shit that they do that I can't even fathom it. Not even going to have free ride in the first game, then put it as paid DLC. Then you put it in the second game. You can't ride co-op multiplayer on it. Then in the third game now, we're finally getting it with co-op multiplayer, but we still only get one free ride track. They still hadn't learned to put more than one free ride track in there. They'll get it, boys. Trust me, they'll get it. Wait till Supercross 4 or 5, then you'll have the 3 different biome free ride tracks with co-op, with big-ass jumps, with better air physics, whip physics, and then I'll be like, all right, this is what I was telling them to do a decade ago. This is what I've been telling them to do for a decade. Congratulations, boys. Been saying it forever. But, you know, I get all the hate for speaking my mind, being really negative at times about these official Monceu Supercross games, and just wait. Just wait. Everything I ever said that they should do would be better in the game, things they need to change, I guarantee you, every single damn thing I said about it is eventually going to be what they end up doing in either Supercross 4 or 5. I guarantee you, bro. They'll eventually have a full-blown enduro type series in there. They'll eventually get the 2-strokes back in the Supercross game. They'll eventually put where it's like, you know, multiple motocross tracks in the Supercross game. They'll eventually do that, right? They'll eventually have the multiple free ride tracks compounds in the game in one singular game, right? They'll eventually do every bit of that. So all this shit of you guys defending this less content, congratulations, you were wrong. But either way, it's like, damn, man. So it'll be cool to see that new compound. It's supposed to have like the, you know, test Supercross area, and then we'll see what all. I'm sure it's going to have like a little side motocross track on it, as you would expect with most of the milestone compounds. They'll have like 1 motocross, 1 Supercross, or 2 Supercross, 1 motocross, some shit like that. But I'm interested in the what's beyond that, you know what I mean? What's the actual free riding areas like, you know, how big of the jumps and stuff you can really hit on that, because that's the whole fun of free riding, really, is being able to hit shit that you can't normally hit anywhere else in the game. That's what's fun about it. Like, you can only jump so high on a Supercross track. You can only hit whatever so much on a motocross track. When you get on the free ride track, kind of opens up the limits a little bit. You can hit way bigger jumps, hit way more cool shit like hill climb areas and fucking all kinds of stuff, you know? So it really kind of elevates the game and kind of builds that whole other pillar to it in that sense. But either way, leave me some good old comments, you Milestone fanboy. Is it even Milestone anymore? I don't know. I think it's like slowly but surely turning into MX versus ATV. Oh, dude, that is so good. Like, all these people that said I was like a Milestone hater and I was like a, you know, a MX versus ATV fanboy. Well, what am I now? Yeah, I just have to ask this question. What the hell am I now? Am I a Milestone, but Milestone under the same parent company as MX versus THQ Nordic Milestone hater, but MX versus ATV lover? I mean, I'm confused now. What am I, boys? What is it? Huh? Make up your mind. Shit, I don't know now. I think they're the same thing now. Shit. It's too good, dog. Too good. What it comes down to really is just you've got casual motocross gaming people, and then you've got people that actually understand it, and that's what it comes down to. And a lot of times we have very conflicting opinions, conflicting things that we think and shit like that, and it's just a fact that they don't understand it to a deeper level. They don't get it. They haven't played enough different motocross games for long enough to really understand physics in a motocross game and what makes a motocross game fun. They just see, wow, an official Monceu Supercross game? We've, like, never had one of those before, because, you know, they were born in, like, 2010. Well, I don't think we've ever even had one of those before. Oh, shit, it's amazing. I don't care what the gameplay's like. The game's amazing, bro. Look at those graphics. Yeah, dude. It's tough having to deal with these people, but I feel like they're finally coming around now. Now that Milestone has proven to be this money-hungry, greedy, you know, over and over and over and over repetitive shit, now that we're to Supercross 3 after going through MXGP Pro bullshit, MXGP 2019 even more bullshit, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, now they're starting to get it. Now they're starting to see eye to eye with me now, you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, I get what you're saying fucking 5 years ago, Spence. Got it. Oh, God. But either way, is what she is, boys. Had one of you guys comment, but either way, on that last video. So guess what, bitch? I'm going to say it some more. Either way. Appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later, dudes.